Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. It is Tuesday this week, moving along the 16th of November. Glad to have you with us on the show. I'm Todd Duplantis. Thanks to all of you watching us on Facebook Live and YouTube. We're live every weekday morning here on Facebook and YouTube, but you can also catch the rebroadcast of our show at noon and 5 p.m. on HCCTV. Check your cable provider for those listings. Two co-hosts joining me this morning, Dr. Tony Rayos-Sutherland, and also the return of Raquel Sims. Good morning, ladies. How are y'all?
Good morning. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. Tony, things going well?
Good morning. Yes, absolutely. It's a pretty morning this morning.
It is. Raquel, she's been gone for, it seems like years, but you're back.
I know. I'm happy to be back. I'm missing all of y'all faces.
Yeah, and you're going to be providing us an update later in the show and all the things going on out at our Stafford area, Fort Bend County. Of course, Raquel works for Stafford's METV, the municipal television station out there. And we'll get an update from her. All right, Raquel, we'll check in with you in a little while.
Sounds good.
Okay, Dr. Tony, we mentioned we're on HCCTV, but folks can follow us across social media as well.
Absolutely. Houston Community College District. As I always tell you, don't just look for HCC, look for Houston Community College District on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can find us and you can follow us.
Find us, follow us, like us, share us. You know the routine. All right, Tony, stick around. I know you'll be interested in talking to this next guest because you'll be interviewing her very shortly.
Oh, yes.
Courtney Smith, is a HCC English professor, also with the Katy Creative Writing Club. She's an advisor and West Houston Institute Innovation Fellow. Courtney, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so it's National Novel Writing Month, I believe, and we've got a few things going on out there. So we're going to check in with you in about 10 minutes. So stand by if you would.
I'd be happy to. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Courtney. We're going to kick things off because it is Tasty Tuesday. Every Tuesday on the show. Today's no exception. We've got the chef and owner of Craft Creamery, Chef Steve Marques, on the show. Steve, good to see you.
How are you today?
Good. We're doing great. Now, I'm a bit of an ice cream connoisseur myself. I love ice cream. First, tell me where we can find Craft Creamery. Where are you guys physically located and how can people find you?
Sure. The shop is located at 1338 Westheimer on the curve in the Montrose. The website is craftcreameryhtx.com and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Craft Creamery HTX.
So from what I was reading in your notes, you've got some interesting ice cream flavors. Just a few of them we'll name off. Crave pumpkin cupcake, brown sugar cinnamon and candied pecan, jalapeno cornbread, and also a cheese and pepper ice cream as well.
Yeah, cacio e pepe. It's based on a Roman pasta dish. It's something I grew up cooking. My godmother is what I credit with me being in this industry. She was Italian, and cacio e pepe is a pasta dish that is considered pretty much the highest expression of Italian cook because it's literally 3 ingredients. It's pasta, pecorino romano, and black pepper. And it's 100% about the technique and how you do it. And I always thought the flavor profile would make an interesting sweet.
And are these flavors a bit savory, or how would you describe them with the jalapeno cornbread and the cheese and pepper one?
Right. And we also do pho and brisket and chicken and waffles.
Chicken and waffles. Does it actually have more chicken flavoring, or does it have chicken in it?
It has chicken in it.
Wow.
The brisket is made out of brisket. It's part of our thing is it is what it says it is. We don't use artificial flavors or colors or anything like that. So when I say brisket ice cream, it's literally brisket, the rub that's the brisket's made with, and the smoke that comes out of the brisket that's in the ice cream. So it's, we try to be as simple and straightforward as we can, but it's still very flavor forward. So the ice creams they all have the same amount of sugar, but because of the umami and the sort of more savory components, the pepper and the cheese or the ingredients that make pho, it reads more savory, but it's still ice cream. So it's fun to watch people taste these things because their brain goes ice cream, brisket, ice cream, brisket. I don't know what I'm tasting.
Well, what's been the react? Well, that's an incredible thing watching the people taste it. But what's been the reaction? Do you have a lot of adventurous people that come into your creamery wanting to try the different things? I mean, I personally have never heard of brisket ice cream, but it piques my interest. I'd probably give it a try.
Yeah, our experience has been everybody wants to try it. Not everybody likes it, but that's okay, because I don't think necessarily everybody should like everything I make. But if you try it, at least there's some, hey, it tastes like brisket. I don't like it, but it tastes like brisket. There are people so when I post the flavors on the website whenever we change them. And when I make brisket, there are 3 guys I know they're going to show up and pick up a pint of brisket next time I put it up. When I put up the chicken and waffles, there's 2 or 3 people that I know are going to show up and pick up a pint. Same thing with the pho. We actually do the pho for Cao Ba, local Vietnamese restaurant.
Right.
They have it on their dessert menu.
That's incredible. Tell me how you started Craft Creamery.
So I've been a chef for a really long time, for almost 4 decades. And when the pandemic hit, I was one of the sous over at Eunice. And of course, like every other restaurant, they had to figure out what's next, close for a while. And I was starting to look for what was next. And my wife, she's a business coach, helps people in their businesses. And she's like, you've always been happiest when you've worked for yourself. Let's find something that makes sense for you to do. We started having some meetings with some investors, developers who do this sort of community redevelopment kind of thing. And over time, it just evolved from, let's do this. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's do the ice cream. Yeah, I took ice cream to a meeting because sometimes if you just, if you change the dynamic of the conversation changes. And they tasted the vanilla. Vanilla's good. They tasted the peanut butter. And the guy who is basically the lead of the company is like, come here, guys, called his team over. And he's like, we've been looking for this for our developments. Let's develop it. So that's how I went from being a savory chef to making ice cream every day.
And you've also got some other interesting flavors: shiro, miso, caramel, tomato, tarragon, and strawberry balsamic. Do you have anything lined up for the holidays? Maybe anything with stuffing in it?
I leave that to Jones Soda. We talked about doing a turkey, but for the holidays, I tend to be a little less adventurous than maybe doing turkey and stuffing. We do the jalapeno cornbread, which is actually intended it's on our Thanksgiving pre-order list. And there are people that love it for the Thanksgiving, put it on your table at Thanksgiving. Right. We do candy cane, which doesn't taste like your standard peppermint. It's really a little more subtle. It's really delicious. I do a gingerbread that this year we're doing with gingerbread cookie from White Oak Bakeries. And we do a eggnog, which makes the best affogato I think I've ever had. I do amaretto, cherry, and pistachio, which are, kind of very traditional holiday stuff.
Yeah.
And then coming out next week, we're going to do chestnuts roasting on an open fire.
Oh, there you go. There you go. I'd be all about that.
Yeah. It's going to be candied chestnuts and Chinese 5-spice ice cream.
I'm a big fan of chestnuts. Unfortunately, I've never mastered the art of roasting them properly. I don't know if I'm buying them the wrong way or they're bad when I buy them, but I never can get them right. But I'm always, every season, I try to do that. Okay, you're going to put something together for us. Obviously, when you get the ice cream, you want to plate it up and make it into something different. Maybe you can show us what you got today.
Sure. So when we started thinking about what we were going to make, for me, food is about seasonality, what's around us, and traditionally what will we eat like this time of year. So it's fall. I'm thinking crumble, cobbler, that kind of thing. I got some pears. We did a little pear compote, and and I did a little oat crumble.
Oh, there you go.
And we're using our miso caramel ice cream because it's caramelly, but it also is a little bit savory. And because the miso itself is a little bit salty. And I think you have to have sweet, salty crunch. You have to have all those components for it to make sense. I try to make it, the plating from the people I apprenticed with was very much about make it simple and clear. Don't torture the food, which is something I've tried to maintain over the years. So just a little ice cream, right? You got our pears that have been cooked down just with some spice, thickened a little bit, sweetened slightly, but they're pretty good on their own. Just some of that on there. And then the crunchy element, right? So this is oats, pecans, a little brown sugar, some cinnamon, some butter, roasted just
Easy
like
enough.
what would be on the top of your crumble. Yeah, and if you don't feel like making the crunch, buy a good granola.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
It's kind of what it is. I want to do it. I want to control it myself. If that's not important to you, buy a good granola. Cooking the fruit is pretty simple. If you wanted to buy it already cooked, you could do that. I probably wouldn't. And then the ice cream for me is like we wholesale this ice cream to our ice cream to other restaurants so that they can get this quality of product without having to have someone committed the space and the person and all that sort of stuff to make it. For me, part of being a successful and a great chef is knowing what to make and knowing what to source. And where do you source it from? Who makes the good stuff? And my rule has always been, if someone else makes it as good as I do, the way I do, and from a price standpoint, it makes sense, I'm going to buy it so that my staff can focus on the dining room.
Right. Chef Steve Marques, he's the owner of Craft Creamery. They're located here in Houston on the curve on Westheimer, deep in the heart of Montrose. Chef, thanks for being here. We're going to put some links to your social media and your website in our social media post for the show. Thanks for being here. Continued success with Craft Creamery.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Chef Steve Marques. We're going to turn things over to Tony. That looked pretty good. Ice cream for breakfast? Why the heck not, Tony?
Oh, yeah, I'm the first one because ice cream's my favorite thing.
You got your milk. He had some oats in that thing he was making there. So pecans, it's healthy. Why not?
There you go. I mean, it's a good, healthy, and wonderful way to start your day.
Absolutely. All right, Tony, I'm going to turn things over to you because it is National Novel Writing Month.
Yes, it is. And we have an English professor here, one of our great faculty, who's going to tell us about it. Her name is Courtney Smith. She is not only an HCC English professor, but she is the Katy Creative Writing Club Advisor and WHI Innovation Fellow, which is a lot of stuff. But we are very happy to have you with us. Welcome, Courtney.
Thank you. I did not expect to follow ice cream, so I'm sorry up front for the disappointment because I was riveted and I will definitely be going by. Great way to start the day.
You know, writing, eating ice cream, you can do them both at the same time, can't you? You know.
I frequently do, or reward myself when I hit my word goal for Nanowrimo, which is what we people who participate call National Novel Writing Month Nanowrimo.
Yes, and it's spelled Nanorwrimo. I was going, how do you pronounce that? I'm glad you said how.
Nanowrimo, yeah.
Nanowrimo, very good. National Novel Month. Well, now you have there's something special about that. So tell me, what is this? How does it work? Tell us about it.
It started a long time ago by a guy with a bunch of friends, and he has continued to do it. And it is a month-long writing journey where people are challenged to write 50,000 words within the month of November, from November 1st to November 30th. And you'll see people, it's an international phenomenon now. And I have done it, and it is... You can say after you successfully complete it, I have written a novel, and there's actually very few people on the planet who've actually done it. And it's a wonderful goal to have for yourself. It's a wonderful practice. And even if your novel, like mine, will probably never see the light of day, you can always say you've done it. And so it's a great celebration, and it's social as well as a personal goal to complete.
Well, I think it's really neat because the thing about a novel, as you were saying, 50,000 words, it's long. There's a lot to write down. I mean, a lot of us can think of something creative to write, like short stories, or like I write plays and things like that. But a novel it's a little different animal. What are some things that you do to help you learn how to write that much and stick to it? Because I think the novel part that's difficult would be to stick to it every day, right?
That's exactly right. And you have to stop thinking of it as, I'm going to write my masterpiece, and just think of it as, I'm going to write. You have to break it down, right? It's that old adage about a journey starts with one step. And if you one step after another, and in this case, you break down the 50,000 words to how many words can I write a day? Well, that's roughly 1,667 words a day, right? And so if you can set aside time every day, have a word goal for that time. And when you can exceed it, if there are days where, the kids are asleep, I'm going to keep writing, you exceed it. So on the days you can't hit the goal, you still end up where you need to be, because there will be interruptions. You just have to accept that there's going to be days you write less and there will be days that you write more. So kind of wrap that into your plan. And the key is just to keep writing no matter what. And if you get stuck, there's the bracket method. You put a bracket and you say, this is where I'm going to write about this later. And you close the bracket and you pick up from where you think you should start, or where over that part that you couldn't write. There's also this thing we call the muddy middle. It is a thing. And a lot of times in the middle of November, that's where a lot of people just give up because they hit that muddy middle. And you need to know up front, this is coming, accept it, work through it, use the bracket methods, just keep hammering out until you have reached the end of your time or your word goal for the day, and then pick up fresh the next day. And so it's about, what are your expectations? Keep at it no matter what. Turn off the internet, turn off distractions, turn off your phone. I hide my screen so I can only see this much. And because I'm one of those people, I'll edit as I go. Stop it. You're just getting a draft down. And accountability, try to do it with people. And there are events all over the city of Houston and online now, because that's one of the benefits of COVID, is that there's a whole virtual community. I do it frequently. There are clubs, there are groups. If you just look up Nanowrimo, if you just Google it, Nanowrimo write-ins. There's a Houston NaNoWrimer group. Say that 3 times fast.
Hard to say sometime fast. Say that 5 times real quick.
Exactly. And so when you have, and all they do is sit and they write together for a set amount of time. And there's so many there are people who do this every year. They look forward to this every year. There are people who've written novels during NaNoWrimo month who become bestsellers. Wow. Those are the exceptions though. It's just about hitting that 50,000 word mark. And the write-ins, you just have to remember this is the first draft. This is just getting it out. And the masterpiece comes later in editing. So as long as you can get over those, I find that the parts that keep people from finishing are, yes, life gets in the way, but also just that critic, that inner editor that we have to silence when we're just getting it out. And it's fun, and you feel so accomplished when you finish. And so those would be my main tips to take away. If you want to participate, don't be scared. There's so many other people who've never done it before, and just keep writing, keep hammering those keys, like the cat in the meme. Just keep going.
It almost reminds me of, like, if you want to be a musician and you want to play the piano, you play scales a lot. And it's like, that can be boring. But the problem is that, or the thing is that you get your fingers to, like, you don't think about it. So in writing, it's like, just write it down. And then eventually all of that will come to you, and it'll be a beautiful masterpiece.
Put your rear in the seat and your hand on the pen or the keys, because that's the work part. It's not all inspired. It is about putting in the time. I can't remember, was it Malcolm Gladwell who said the 10,000 hours? Well, if you do NaNoWriMo, you're going to probably get halfway there. You're going to do so many, at least 60 hours, right? Trying to hammer out those words.
There you go. Well, now you are also the advisor for the HCC's Creative Writing Club. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, I'm so glad you brought that up because we actually meet every Thursday and we meet in person once a month. We have an in-person meeting this week at 2:30 in room 108 of Katy, the Katy campus. But any HCC student is welcome. And we also meet virtually every Thursday during the normal semester virtually. And anyone who's an HCC student is welcome to attend. And typically what we do during that time, we take care of a little business at the beginning, but we write. We write for most of the time. So that would be a great write-in for you for NaNoWriMo to get some work in. And then if you want at the end, exactly. If you want at the end, you get to share your work. We also host open mics. We have contests, talent show contests. It is just a great place to socialize and meet with other creatives who are interested in getting some kind of words on the page. You mentioned plays. Playwrights are welcome, as well as poets and fiction writers, creative nonfiction writers. We have graphic novelists, people who write songs, all kinds of things. So again, this Thursday we're meeting in person, but we always meet on Thursday at 2:30.
I think it's important, writers think of themselves maybe sometimes as being inward, that everything has to be by yourself. No, you can be with other people and still learn about writing and learning your skill there. Now, there's something else. There's the HCC's Reading Culture Project. Now, that one also sounds very interesting. Tell us a little bit about that.
Now, that is, again, across the institution. Every semester, we adopt a country and a book by someone from that country. This semester, it's China. And it's an institution-wide reading program to promote understanding and respect for other cultures. And so this year, it's China. Our book is Under Red Skies. And multiple professors from different, as well as staff members from different disciplines participate and use the book as part of their teaching material or participate in the presentations. We've had visiting writers as well. We do have free copies of the books right now available at the Katy, Aliff Hayes, Spring Branch, Northline, West Loop, and Stafford libraries. And we have a scholarship for students.
That's important.
Yes, there's $1,000 and then two $500 scholarships. The deadline is the 22nd. We have some events that you have to attend to qualify, but we also have them recorded so people can review them if they weren't able to make the in-person event. They can write an essay or create a creative project to compete. So there is a workshop tonight that I am hosting for the creative project.
That's important.
Yes, if people are interested in attending, they can certainly contact me and I'll let them know how to attend. But the deadline's on the 22nd, so time is getting short. Again, we have free copies of the book. And next year, our country's going to be Pakistan. So, so it's continual every semester. And I'm happy.
Do you know what book is going to be for the Pakistan?
We are still discussing and debating. Okay. But we are narrowing it down and we'll make an announcement soon. So
sounds great. Well, Courtney Smith, HCC English professor, easy for me to say, Katy Creative Writing Club advisor, and WHI Innovation Fellow. Thank you so much for being on the show. Writing always gets me excited. I know that sounds strange, but it is, because your creative juices start flowing. So it's a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Tony and Courtney. Okay, Raquel Sims, we're going to move along because we're running out of time. But Raquel, why don't you bring us up to date with everything going on now in Fort Bend County?
Yes, I'll be really, really, really swift. So as we all know that the STEM Magnet School opened up in Stafford, they are paving the way in so many different areas. They recently had their first annual white coat ceremony, which highlights and honors future scientists. So it's almost like, just giving them recognition of what took place, what accolades they were able to accomplish within the first year. So that's amazing. This was the first annual one. And then second, HCC, we know how community is a really big component of HCC, and HCC recently held their town hall meeting. Dr. Madam Burilla was there, and it was at the Missouri City Town Hall, and it was a chance to allow the community to speak to the college and what projections they foresee for the college. So that was pretty amazing. And then also the George Ranch Historical Park. I just love this. They did their pumpkin roundup, and I know you're thinking pumpkins, Halloween is over, but they really wanted to create this fall festive feel. You know, we have Thanksgiving coming up. So if you want to go out with your family, take your little kids out to get a pumpkin patch pictures, they have the perfect setup. It's so cute. So if you are interested in that, please look them up. It's the George Ranch Historical Park. And we're just excited. I'm happy to be back, and I look forward to sharing more with y'all about Stafford. And for those who are looking to follow us, please follow us on all social media platforms at Stafford METV. And yeah, stay up to date with us.
All right. Thanks, Raquel. A lot going on out there. Tony, we've got Lunch and Learn on fraud awareness that is happening that folks can take part in, and that happens tomorrow.
Absolutely. This is called, there's different things you'll learn, like define what fraud actually is, explain why fraud happens, provide information on ways to reduce fraud risk, and inform HCC employees on how to report possible fraud activity. And, you know, all of us can be easily taken by fraud. So this is something very important. Wednesday, November 17th at 11:30 a.m., the presenters are Terry Corrigan, Internal Auditing Director, and Rodney Nathan, ABC Talent Acquisition and Performance.
All right, and we'll have some links after the show in our social media post. For the sake of time, we're going to skip on down to our last announcement, because we always need to remind folks that registration is underway right now. You can register, get this, for spring 2022. Can you believe we're almost there? We're ripping through this year, and spring 2022 will be upon us in January, but you need to register now. We have a number of ways for you to learn, including strictly online courses, some hybrid courses, which are online and in person, and yes, in-person classes. They started up back in October here at HCC on our campuses. They're very small. We practice social distancing, so you'll need to sign up early to get the class you want, the time you want, the professor you want. Make sure you do it early, get it taken care of before we go into the holiday season. So go to hccs.edu/now for all your registration needs. Hey, we've got a special guest joining us tomorrow, Tony.
Yes, Dr. Margaret Ford Fisher, who's the president of the online college, and she has some great news for us. HCC has been spotlighted in Newsweek magazine as one of the top 32 non-universities named as America's top online learning providers. So that's exciting.
That's very exciting. She'll tell us all about that. And mark your calendars. It's that time again. We have a visit from HCC Police Chief Michael Benford will be here on the show. All that and more. Tony will be back. I'll be back. We'll see you live tomorrow, 10 a.m. right here on Up to the Minute.